Good morning, everybody. This is What's Up with Giancarlo. So, today we're going to go over lesson 17.1, 2, and 3, all in the same video. Okay? Keep crushing what we're doing. So, 17.1 is adding integers with the same sign. Okay, this is basically adding. Okay? So, let's just get through this. Just going to skip the modeling sums of integers with the same sign. We're going to skip the counters. Skip that. Let's get into the meat of the lesson. So, adding integers with a common sign. To add integers with the same sign, add the absolute values of the integers and use the sign of the integers for the sum. So, example 1, add -7 plus -6. So, you might be thinking, why do I need these parenthesis signs? That is so that that's because we don't want to have two signs next to each other, like this plus sign and this negative sign, so they will separate it with the parentheses. Okay? That's why the parentheses are there. So, what they're telling you is find the absolute value of -7 and -6, which is just 7 and 6. So the way I see it, just take 7 plus 6, you get 13, and then they're both negative, so you know that this answer is negative. That's all it is. That is this whole entire lesson. This whole entire lesson is just adding numbers together and then knowing whether it's negative or positive. So 9 plus 7, they're both positive, so we're adding with the same integers. Adding integers with with a common sign. 9 plus 7, 16. -8 plus -14. 8 plus 14 is 22. And then they are both negative, so my answer will be negative. That is all you're doing. That's it. That's it. Okay? You're taking the two numbers, adding them together, and then if they're both negative, the answer is negative. If they're both positive, the answer is positive. All right. Your turn. Go ahead. Pause it now. Okay. So we've got -8 plus -1. 8 plus 1 is 9, and they are both negative. So my answer will be -9. I've got -3 plus -7. 3 plus 7 is 10. Both are negative. Therefore, my answer will be negative. -10. -48 plus -12. 48 plus 12 is 60. And they're both negative, so it will be -60. -32 plus -38. 32 plus 38 equals 70. And they are both negative, therefore it will be negative. 109 plus 191. They are both positive. My answer will be positive. It is 300. -40 plus -105. They're both negative. My answer will be 145. -145, class. So, -150 plus -1500. 150 plus 1,500 would be 1,650, and it will be negative since they are both negative. And last but not least, -200 plus -800. They're both negative. It will be -1,000. If you have any questions, please post in the comments. Okay? That is all for lesson 17.1. Let's move on to 17.2. Adding integers with different signs. Okay? different signs. This is a little different, but just as easy. Get to the meat. Let's skip all this. Okay. Let me show you some examples of what we have to do and show you how to do it. So this is adding integers with different signs. So we'll have -8 plus 5. Okay? So what we're going to do now is basically we're going to do 8 minus 5 to get my answer 3. And then look at the original two numbers. Is 8 bigger or is 5 bigger? 8 is bigger, so we're going to keep the sign from the 8. That is it. That's all we have to do. If you want to do this on a number line, we're at -8. That's where we are. And then we move over to the right 5. So -7, -6, -5, -4, -3. Boop, 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 boom. We're landing here. -3. You don't need to do it on a number line. That's whatever. So let's look at this. 9 plus -4. What this really is just 9 minus 4. So let's look at 9 minus 4. We get 5. 9 is bigger than 4, so it stays positive. 14 plus -22. 22 minus 14 would be 8. The negative is bigger. 22 is bigger than 14, so my answer will be -8. Pretty simple stuff. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And please specify what lesson you have questions about. Okay, so forget the model and using counters and everything. Just do the your turn, solve it how I taught you. Pause it now. I know you didn't pause it yet. Go ahead and pause it and do your work. Come on now. Okay, now we can get started. 5 plus -1 would be 5 minus 1. And then I would work out that'd get 4. And the 5 is bigger, so it stays positive. Number 4 would really be 6 minus 4. At 2. But the 6 is bigger than the 4, so it would be -2. Number 5, we've got 1 plus -7. We'll do 7 minus 1. Get 6. The number with the negative is bigger than the positive number. It will be -6. 3 plus -4. Let's do 4 minus 3. We get 1. The number with a negative is bigger than the positive. Therefore, it is -1. It's as easy as pie. Eating pie, not the number. That is crazy hard. So let's move on. Oof. There it is. Adding integers. You have learned how to add integers with the same signs, how to add integers with different signs. The table below summarizes the rules for adding integers. So here's all the information you need. A number and its opposite. When you're adding the opposite numbers, it's just always going to be 0. Okay? Find each sum. So negative 11 plus 6 is really just 11 minus 6. We get 5. The 11 is bigger than the 6, so it stays negative. Negative 37 plus 37 is 0. Okay, you have a negative 37, you have a positive 37, that just equals to 0. Now you've got more to do. Work it out. Pause. All right, now that I know you paused because you're a good kid, we're going to work this out. So 51 minus 23 is 28. The 51 is bigger, so it'll be negative 28. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay, we've got 10 plus negative 18. So 18 minus 10. 8. The negative is bigger, so my answer will be negative. 13 plus negative 13. I have a positive and I have a negative. 0. I've got number 10, 26 minus 25. That's 1. The negative is bigger, therefore it's negative. Woo! Would you look at that? So that is all for this lesson. And we move on to 17.3. So 17.3 is subtracting integers. This is a little trickier than 17.1 and 17.2, but we will be using 17.1 and 17.2 in this, okay? Very little part is of 17.3. So 17.3 is actually subtracting now. So let's say we've got negative 7 minus negative 8, okay? So I don't remember if you remember dividing fractions where you have to do keep, change, flip, which is KCF, but for this, we're going to do KCC, okay? And I'll separate it to help you out with that. So KCC, we're going to keep the negative 7, we're going to change the minus to a plus, and then we're going to change the negative to a positive. So now what I have is negative 7 plus positive 8, and if you remember, 18.2 adding with different signs, then we're just going to subtract. So we get 8 minus 7, we get 1, and then we keep the sign of the bigger number. Okay? So we'll say positive. So let's do another one. Let's do 8 minus negative 12. Okay? So let's separate them, really help out. K, C, C. Keep the 8, change this to a plus, change this to a plus. Positive. Okay? So 8 plus 12 is 20. That's it. When you're adding the same, this is 17.1, adding integers with common signs. That's how it works. Okay? Let's do one more. 8 minus 11. So let's separate them. God bless me. Thank you. All right. Keep, change, change. I've got 8 because I'm keeping the 8. I'm changing this minus to a plus sign, and I'm changing this positive 11 to a negative 11. So now 17.2, I'm adding integers with different signs. So what I'm going to do is 11 minus 8. I get 3, and then I keep the sign of the bigger number, so my answer will be negative. Okay? So we're just going to skip on down. Subtracting integers by adding the opposite. You can use the fact that subtracting an integer is the same as adding its opposite to solve problems. Example 1, the temperature on Monday was negative 5 degrees Celsius. By Tuesday, the temperature rose to negative 2 degrees Celsius. Find the change in temperature. So start off with negative 2 and then subtract negative 5. K, C, C. Negative 2 stays the same. This turns into a plus sign. This turns into a positive 5. Okay? So really it's 5 minus 2. We get 3. The 5 is bigger, so it stays positive. This is my answer. The temperature increased by 3 degrees Celsius. Okay? So let's go ahead, work these out. Pause it. Okay. So negative 7 minus 2. This stays as negative 7. This turns to a plus. This turns into a negative 2. Okay? So what is this is 17.1 adding with adding integers with common signs. So 7 plus 2 is 9 and they're both negative, so it is 9. Okay. Negative 1 minus negative 3. Negative 1 stays the same. This becomes a positive 3. So we get 3 minus 1, we get 2. The 3 is positive, so it stays positive 2. Okay. 3 stays the same. This turns into a plus, to a negative 5. So 5 minus 3 is 2, and the 5 is bigger than the 3, so it will be negative. Okay, you can't really see this, but it says negative 2. Okay, last but not least, negative 8. This turns into a plus sign, change. This changes into a positive 4. So 8 minus 4 would be 4. The 8 is bigger, so it will be a negative 4. Okay? That's it for 17.3. We just went over 17.1, 2, and 3. So, again, any questions, throw them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're watching this video, you're in the class. We'll see you next time, everybody.